away we go. Now don't forget, everybody, to look at this little white building. Give it a smile if you like. And then as you leave the zoo, they'll pull those pictures up on the computer screen and show them to you. As we leave the zoo, everybody take a look over on the right. Excuse me, we're not leaving the zoo. As we leave the station, take a look over on the right-hand side. There's a large aviary home to our two Toko toucans. And as they say, one bird doesn't make a family, but two can. And these birds are the largest and most common type of toucan. About 40 different species in the Amazon area. They use those enormous yellow and orange beaks to eat fruits, nuts, berries, and little critters like frogs and lizards. If you take a walk down the little pathway here on the right-hand side, it leads to the platform overlooking our 7 small-clawed Asian otters. Smallest otter in the world and the only otter that has fingers on its paws. That's right, their paws look a little bit like hands. We have a whole family in there, a mom and a dad and a big brother and 4 little otters born back in November, 2 boys and 2 girls. And on the right-hand side, Swan Lake is the body of water here surrounding our Ridley Tree restaurant. This is where Nina and Shadow live, and I can see them down there. They're beautiful black-feathered swans, native to Australia and New Zealand. They have the longest neck of any swan in the entire world. They're also pretty friendly, so if you want to talk to them, you can stand on the bridge and say, "Hey there, Shadow," and there's a very good chance he will swim over and say hello. Engineer Bob over here. Let's say hi, Engineer Bob. And this is where we can see our shipping and receiving department in all of our offices. We are certified as a green organization by the County of Santa Barbara thanks to our recycling and our composting programs. The 2-story building here on our right is our veterinary hospital. That's one of our zookeepers there, everybody. Not only do they take care of the animals, but they learn how to drive forklifts and many, many other things that go into the care and feeding of our animals. There's Mr. Flash, the laughing kookaburra. Now, Flash's parents live here too. They're out in the Australian walkabout area. He has 2 little siblings, hatchlings, who were hatched just about 5 months ago. They're already full grown, and they're back in the Australian walkabout aviary with their parents. This is where the birds come at the end of the day to have dinner and hang around with their keepers. We have an old raven in there. Her name is Merlin, and Merlin is 31 years old. As I mentioned, back at the station, this is Emmett, our red train, pulling us along today. On the left-hand side, we have our train barn. And there's Kate, the blue train in there, along with Tony, our welder. Any of the metal work you see done here at the zoo is done back there by Tony, a master welder. But over here on the right-hand side, everybody, Jasmine is on the railing of Gibbon Island. Hello, Jasmine. And over in the doorway on the right-hand side there is Bono, her companion. Now, these look like monkeys, but in fact, they're not monkeys, they're apes. They're the smallest ape in the world, known as white-handed gibbons, also known as flower gibbons. Native to Indonesia, where they are highly endangered. This is an arboreal species. They spend much of their life in the trees. And both of our gibbons, by the way, are senior citizens. Jasmine is 44, a great-grandma. She's lived here since 1979. She raised 5 little baby gibbons here. And yeah, Bono joined us 3 years ago after Jasmine's mate Gulliver passed away. And Bono was living up in Eureka, California. He had a girlfriend for 35 years and became a widower as well just a few years ago. So these two got together about 3 years ago, and now they're a bonded pair. And they sing together. They're inseparable. They swing in the trees together. They do not swim. This species of ape does not swim. Their arms are too long, for one thing, but physically they're unable to swim, so instinctively they stay away from the water. Also, they are not monkeys. These are not monkeys, everybody. They're apes. They're the smallest beings in the entire world. Jasmine and Bono. Now, over on the left-hand side is the Andre Clark Bird Refuge. This property is owned by the city of Santa Barbara. It's 42 acres in all. The lagoon is a combination of fresh and salt water. Brackish lagoon, but dropping rapidly in water level due to a lack of rainfall. That's right, it's very shallow now, not more than a few inches deep. And if you see some birds out there, a very good chance they're just walking along the bottom of the lagoon. This will become almost completely dry, but as soon as we get some rainfall, it will once again fill up. Now, the really interesting thing about this very special property is that over 200 different species of birds have been identified here. See some gorgeous white herons out there today, along with ducks and cormorants, gulls, pelicans. Just a beautiful property. The islands are man-made. The big white building on the hill over there belongs to the Montecito Country Club. All right, everybody, as we cross the trestle, I'd like to direct your attention up there on the right-hand side. We have 6 California condors in residence here. This is one of the few places, excuse me, where you can actually see a California condor up close. So if you have the time, please go up there and check these birds out. They are vultures. They're the largest land bird in North America. They're huge. They have a wingspan of 9.5 feet. They have bald heads and big beaks, so they can forage around down on the ground for things to eat, called carrion head beaks on the ground. And they're so critically endangered. Every single one of those numbers, but back in the 80s, they were right at the brink of extinction. In fact, there were only 22 California condors left in 1987. But now, thanks to breeding programs, we have over 500 in the world with over 300 in the wild. But California condors only lay 1 egg every 2 years. And on the right-hand side, on the other side of that big rock wall, we have Nzinga and Bangori, Western Lowland gorilla brothers. And their brothers, they're almost ready to go find their own mates and start their own families. They're just getting to that age. They're still just a little bit young. There's Jake, the giant mosaic snake, big as a snake at the zoo. And I'd like to introduce you to our Maasai Giraffe Tower. It's what a group of giraffes is called. It's called a tower. Now over here, our little group of giraffes is having a conversation with those 2 black birds. You'll notice 2 large black birds with red wattles around their beaks, red skin around their necks. Those are African birds. They're called southern ground hornbills. They are native to the African savanna, and the giraffes and the birds are fascinated by each other. They may have some sort of deep primal connection, I believe. We have 4 Maasai giraffes in our tower. Now, Big Michael, our big male, hasn't been coming out today. I'm not quite sure what's going on, but he's inside, probably in the air condition, probably getting some medical tests or vaccines or something like that. Michael is known to be the most valuable giraffe in North America. He's the most valuable breeding giraffe, some say even outside of Africa. Difficult to prove that, but he is only related to his own offspring. And the Maasai giraffe, along with all of the other 9 types of giraffe, is an endangered species. So Michael's ability to father strong, healthy, and genetically sound Maasai giraffes is extremely important to species survival programs. He has 2 girlfriends here. They're both over there on the right-hand side, Adia and Audrey, and his most recent son, little Ramy, 8.5 months old. So some of you may have noticed the replica animals around the zoo that we have added within the last year. These all belong to a wonderful lady named Joyce Trevelyan, who lived here in Santa Barbara and had them at her home. These life-size animals were all around her property in Hope Ranch, and when she passed away less than a year ago, she willed them to the zoo. So we arranged to have them brought here, and they're kind of busy looking for their own special places here around zoo property. Now, giraffes are vegetarians. They eat 21 hours a day. They only sleep 30 or 40 minutes a day. That's all they need, and that's directly contrasting to our African lions, their next door neighbors. And on the right-hand side, everybody, Dad Ralph is on the big rock up against the glass there. Kind of hard to see him. He has had a very, very busy day. Today is Ralph's 7th birthday. There's been a lot of celebrating going on. He had a special treat this morning, in fact. And then on the right-hand side, his mate Felicia and their daughter Pauline. Now, Ralph turned 7. Felicia is just 4 years old. Pauline is about 22 months old. She'll be turning 2 in November. And Felicia and Ralph met here in Santa Barbara. They came from different parts of the country. And on the left-hand side as well, another one of Mrs. Trevelyan's animals, and life-size. Show you just how big those big lions get. The males get to about 420 pounds. But in the wild, the females do 95% of all the hunting. The African lion is the only big cat that lives in large groups called prides, family groups, mostly related females and cubs. And although the females do almost all the hunting, the males have an extremely dangerous job, which is to protect the family against other males. The white tents you see on the right-hand side are classrooms used by our education programs, and on the left are African elephants going to the beach again. They even have their trucks on. And that little guy. This is an African kudu, one of the most beautiful African antelopes, very large African antelope. But for the first half of the 20th century, all of this was a private home. And this belonged to an eccentric woman named Lillian Child, who lived here. This was her driveway. It went all the way up to a pink house on the hill. In 1947, though, Mrs. Child donated this priceless property to the Santa Barbara Foundation, so we could all enjoy it in the future generations, and it wouldn't get sold or developed. Our zoo, when it opened in 1963, was named after what's called the Child family. And on the right-hand side, let's see, where is Poppy? Poppy the capybara lives in there. She's probably in the water. Capybaras spend a lot of their times in the water. They even have partially webbed feet, and they are native to South America. They're the world's largest rodent. Here we are, everybody back at the station. Please remain seated until the train comes to a full stop, and watch your heads as you get off the train. On behalf of Emmett, the Red Train, and all of us here at the Santa Barbara Zoo, I'd like to say thank you again for riding the train, and have a super afternoon.